I have something called PCOS.
Okay, what's PCOS?
PCOS is, Hey sisters, today I'm going to give you some tips on how to explain PCOS to your loved ones. Whether it's someone you're dating, your coworker, your partner, your mom, or your cousin, these tips can apply to a conversation with anyone who's asking you about PCOS. Stay tuned until the end when I'll share my elevator speech that I use to explain PCOS to someone who asks me what the heck it is. Before we get started, hit that like button for good vibes to support all the sisters watching this video. So, how you decide to talk about PCOS is completely up to you and what you're comfortable with. If you feel like you're not being supported and you prefer not to explain PCOS to someone, I get where you're coming from. But if you feel more empowered after explaining PCOS, like you've cleared the air of any confusion, I'm here for that too. This whole topic can bring on a lot of anxiety, but as you learn more about PCOS, you'll feel more prepared in having conversations about it. I actually did an Instagram poll on stories because I wanted to hear what my fellow sisters were thinking, and 74% of you said that you feel anxious when you explain PCOS to your families, and 26% said you don't feel anxious. So you're not alone. I have some really good tips that will help you clear the anxiety and confidently tell your story. Trust me, I've experienced this before, but after deep diving and understanding PCOS better, I became much more confident in talking about it. I remember my first date with Sirak, my husband. I told him right then that I was gluten and dairy free because it helps with my hormones. I didn't go into too much detail because it was a first date. He was very supportive on that first date, and he actually asked the waiter to make sure everything we ordered was gluten and dairy free. For more info on why I'm gluten and dairy free, check out my video on the top 3 foods to avoid with PCOS. Now later, as I continued dating Sirak, I felt more comfortable and told him more about PCOS. One key factor was being confident about my PCOS. On my first date with him, I had confidently said what I said, and it was met with acceptance and understanding. And it set the tone for the rest of the conversations that we had about PCOS in the future. I think my confidence in my knowledge of PCOS had a lot to do with how Sirak perceived PCOS moving forward, and he was very on board with helping me treat this condition. He is the PCOS personal trainer in our community, the Sisterhood, the largest membership platform that helps women with PCOS reverse their symptoms and lose weight. With that being said, my first tip on how to explain PCOS to your loved ones is, don't be embarrassed. PCOS is very common, so the likelihood of the woman you're talking to having PCOS is pretty high. 1 in 10 women have PCOS in America, and in some countries, it's 1 in 5 women. If you're talking to a guy or someone who doesn't have PCOS, they probably know someone who has PCOS. So don't be embarrassed. This is very common, and keep in mind that all your symptoms can be reversed with some time, patience, and investigation. If you've got acne, I got a video on cystic acne and how to reverse it. If you've got hair loss, I've got a video on treatments for that too. Keep investigating your health. Don't give up. Don't be embarrassed. I got you, boo. We're gonna work this all out. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. My second tip is this. Decide that you are worthy. Say it with me. I am worthy.
You're worthy!
Let me explain. In order to truly thrive with PCOS, a mindset shift has to happen. In a nutshell, you need to make the conscious decision to engage in extreme self-care. That means deciding that you are worth caring for, getting that massage or going to acupuncture, That's the self-care. That confidence will trigger the people around you who are watching you go through this journey. So they really believe that you got this, you're taking care of yourself, and they need to get on board with supporting you mentally, physically, emotionally. Self-care means allocating resources, whether it's financial or time related, to healing your body and maintaining your health. A lot of those decisions comes from you believing that you're worthy. And when you get that down, so will your partner or your loved one. They'll understand that this is how you choose to care for yourself, and they'll help you prioritize your mind and your body, and maybe they'll even join you. Sirak has been going to acupuncture with me for 8 weeks in a row now, and he's loving it for his own stress management.
I know, it's pretty good.
It's a win-win. My third tip is to be clear with what you need from your loved one while you go through this journey. Tell them, I need help with managing stress, eating gluten and dairy free, getting my workout in, reducing sugar and alcohol, or getting into bed on time. As simple as that. If this is something that you're prioritizing for yourself because you know you're worthy of these acts of self-care, like I mentioned in my second tip, then your loved one is gonna be like, yeah, okay, I can get on board with this. Sounds like it's something important to you. Then you can get even more specific. You can say, I appreciate your sweet gesture, but please don't make me cookies to make me feel better. I'm working on cutting down my sugar intake. They'll probably be very supportive and understanding of your request. And if they're not, and they still bring you cookies, you can just say thank you. It's your choice whether or not you want to eat the cookies. You have to do what's right for you and what feels best. And that's the bottom line. With that being said, let's move on to the fourth tip, being grateful. Remember, thank the people when they help you, no matter what, even if they bring you the cookies. Even if it isn't at all the help you need, acknowledge their efforts. PCOS is complex, and maybe your partner is trying to be supportive by making you gluten-free cookies. But let's say the cookies, they still have dairy in them. It's okay, just thank them and it'll encourage them to keep trying. You'll get better at communicating exactly which brand of cookies you like, and they'll feel more confident when they're looking for something nice so they can treat you. My fifth tip is this. Don't be thrown off by other people's assumptions about PCOS. They might make you feel like you're less of a woman, or you're lazy and that's why you've gained weight, or they'll assume you can't have babies and literally say it to your face. I mean, the list goes on. People can be so rude, even people you consider close friends and family. I remember being judged and looked up and down when I told people that I was studying to become a registered dietitian. They were like, what? You gained so much weight. How? I mean, it's so rude and it'll literally blow your whole mind, but don't let it throw you off. You do you. Until PCOS is more widely known, we have to hold our heads high and be ambassadors for ourselves. People are gonna make all kinds of assumptions, and we have to be strong and learn to navigate it in a way that works for us. With that being said, it's time for my PCOS elevator speech. So you can memorize this and refer to it when you're asked about PCOS, or when you feel like you've been put on the spot and you want to explain it in a confident way to someone. You can say something like this. I have PCOS. Polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's an endocrine disorder, which means that it affects my hormones and my metabolism. It causes inflammation and affects my body in a way that makes it easy to gain weight, harder to lose weight, and triggers symptoms that I'm struggling with, like acne. I'm working on my diet and lifestyle so that I can find what helps me reverse my symptoms. Now write that down, modify it, and memorize it for future use, because it's really helpful. So sisters, there you have it. These are my top tips on how to explain PCOS to your loved ones, so you can feel confident and own it. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like, comment, and share.